What is on your SEC Aggie football mind? Sharing's caring. 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile and Loop Express inbox. I got two I need to hit. We were doing it like a mini text message sweep as we wrapped up our first hour. Zachary, I like Beamer, and I think he has good principles, but I'm not sure he has the intelligence like Elko. I have a theory on Beamer. I think there's like this framework of a really good coach, and I bet his players love him. I don't know how he strikes me as a coach whose emotions interfere in the moment. Every coach I've ever listened to tell you that you have to play like you practice on game day. That practice is the hardest. I feel like Shane Beamer's probably a coach that gets lost in the emotions of the moment, and he doesn't coach like he practices. He doesn't coach like he preps. Like his game day Saturdays, he probably lets the play-to-play and moment-to-moment interfere with his Saturday. And as the leader of the program, you can't do that because then every player trickles into them. That's what I think happens to him. That's it again. That's my theory. That's what I think happens to them. Could be wrong. Could be right. I might be crazy. I might just be the lunatic they're looking for. I don't know, but still, that's what I think happens to him. And when he's freaking out, everyone, his own coaches, probably the sideline, probably pick up on it too. And then sometimes when it's positive, they can feed off it too, but you can't do the too high, too low. That's not how it works for coaches. You don't want your players to do it. So anyway, that's my theory on Beamer. And you look at Mike Elko, right? He's not too high. He's not too low. He's stalking the sidelines. He's busting up chairs, but it's actually a steady. And you know that they prepped all week. And have you ever seen any of the week-long stuff, whether it's from the SEC Network or anything else? He's like that all week. Now, I'm sure there's some of the light side, too. So that's my Shane Beamer thought. Tiag and Taylor. Oh, it's Tayag. Thought UT coach was good. Yeah, I wish he sounded a little more relaxed, but yeah, me too. Thought the UT coach was good. Is it just my bias, or was the first Horns question of how excited must UT be to play them so typical? It was just you. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile and Loop Express inbox. 979-693-1150. If you listen to, I kind of feel like all of them, because I listened to all of them, right? Whichever reporter gets in, ask a question about their team. So you say the first Horns question. That's common. So here we go. Let us pick a team. Auburn. If it's an Auburn reporter, he's going to ask a question, Auburn. If it is a Vanderbilt question, he's going to tie it into the Vanderbilt game and ask a Vanderbilt question. So if that first Horns question was about playing Texas, of course it is. That's the story he's writing, is from the Longhorn perspective. So of course the first Horns question is how excited it must be to play them, or anything tied to the game. When A&M plays Georgia, you'll probably have an A&M person, and it might be the tongue-in-cheek, but hey, how exciting will it be to finally come to Kyle Field since you've never done it? That kind of thing, yeah. So there's many things to hate Longhorns for. I don't have that in my category. That's not it. That's not the one. Longhorn reporters asking that question is not one of them, because they all do it. Coach, have you ever played at Neyland Stadium before? It'll be a treat to finally experience a Tennessee crowd, won't it? That's what a Tennessee reporter would ask Coach X when their team's coming. So, nah. For me, nah. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile One Lube Express inbox. Texas Mobile One Lube Express, where they say be good to your car and your car will be good to you. A&M, I took a look at their official schedule, and like Elko will be in the main room at 1:55, players main room like an hour later, and so they've already met with the media, and I told you it's their private. They're before scrum, and then the media eats, and then Mike Elko takeover shortly scheduled. Something I did want to do, Aggie reflected before new data comes in. Monday, Houston A&M Club night, Coach Elko met with the media ahead of the event, and nothing earth-shattering, but the things that stood out to me anyway. He said this is the best secondary I've had in 7 years at A&M, counted his DC days. If the front seven steps up, which means the D-line, because you don't have a good secondary if you don't have a good D-line. If they got to hold too long, you can have 3 All-Americans back there, and it don't matter. Olin and I talked about that a bit over the past 2 Tuesdays, I think. There's no reason to fear. There's no reason to believe, oh, no, there's trouble in A&M D-Lineville. But they got to do it. Remember the first year under Elko? They had 3 NFL players in the D-line, but the chaos rate and the sacks weren't there, and it was mysterious. Then last year, they delivered on the sack. So don't know what to expect is my let's see it. But the only thing I believe that can derail is that secondary is the A&M D-line. And if the A&M D-line is good enough, A&M secondary is scary good. They need to get the picks, but we talked about it. All they do, well, if you weren't here in hour number 1, by the way, hi, hello, and welcome. And another, I'll reference Olin talking point, is they need to create more turnovers. They got to get picks. They just got to catch the balls they have the opportunity on. There's no secret to, wait, how? Just catch the balls that are your opportunities. And I think that would fix it. Elko was asked Monday, Damian Sanford injury. Don't ask me about Damian Sanford. We'll find out where that goes in time, but he will be back, and he will be ready to go somewhere in the middle of the season. He, quote, praising Coach Moffitt, but simple. Coach Moffitt is the best in the business. Referencing 10 NFL draft picks in April. Our challenge this year is to prove that we're a program that is capable of sustaining success and reloading. It is. We know that. It's simple. I saved the one for me that I've thought about 3 days later for last. Because the rest are, I say the usual. I don't mean that as an insult. But this is the one thing he said at the A&M Houston Club. And it's about, I think he said it was about college football, but it's college athletics. Quote, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry with no centralized leadership. There's no other company in the history of the world with those type of revenue streams with no leadership. We need that now more than ever. That is a matter of fact, bang the gavel, absolute, dead on, hit the bullseye statement. It is the absolute problem. College football is always, before it's multi-billion, we'd say multi-million. It was the number one revenue stream of the athletic department always. It's always been the big business in athletics, college. And we moved to this world a long time ago where football coaches were no longer ADs. They've been doing CEOs. And now we've went into the TV wars where you're getting the $1 billion. Every school kind of goes for itself. Every conference goes for itself. And with no centralized, and you've heard other leaders say this, and maybe a coach here and there, but there's not one person that actually does it for the good of the sport. No one thinks about the health of the sport. What's the best decision for the sport? And if you wanted to say college, there's no one. This is the best decision for the sport, is I would say factor number 8 if we're listing them. Every conference for themselves, every school for themselves. And that's how you end up with these Frankenstein looks and half measures and things taking 8 years to change. And I've said before, what we have right now is not SEC versus SEC at all. Sorry, it's not SEC versus Big Ten. That's not really the storyline. This is ESPN versus Fox. Both conferences kind of sold themselves to the TV networks, but they're not even TV networks. What, the media empires? That's better. But Elko nailed the why. If you had a central leadership and you didn't need committees that study, review, put it back into committee, study again, and then another committee. And it takes, 2 to 3 years to change a sentence in a paragraph? If you're the NCAA or anyone? So you can't, meaningful change takes, you could say, well, they eventually get there. Well, they're doing it eventually. Look at the modern world we live in. How fast does things change, technology or otherwise, financial realities? And like the NCAA is zero equipped to deal with any of it. Elko, that's the quote. That's the thing of everything he said, because the rest of it, I'm like, that's awesome. That's cool. Excited about that. Pumped. Can't wait. But it is a multi-billion-dollar industry with no centralized leadership. There's no other company in the history of the world with those type of revenue streams with no leadership, and we need that now more than ever. Love that. And that, again, first hour, someone mentioned his intelligence. That's someone that's thinking. One other thing, since we're maroon and white, A&M. It was Elko. The quote from his A&M club. Our challenge this year is to prove that we're a program that's capable of sustaining success and reloading. And that's the magic, right? That's the magic concept, the magic thought. Maintaining success, maintaining success. A&M's had this once every, 6 years? Where they threaten the CFP. Did it last year. They have a Manziel Heisman year and fade back to Bolivia. There's been this theory. There's been this thought. And I don't know if it's been in every circle. Right? That A&M and Texas cannot both be national championship, and I'll call it top 10 programs at the same time. I don't know if you've heard that. I'm pretty sure that's a common thought. And now A&M and Texas have been separated for so long. Maybe that has died. Maybe that hasn't been passed on. But some statistics or numbers into that. A&M and Texas both won 10 games last year. First time since 1975. Both have won 19 games, men, over the last 2 years. That has not happened in back-to-back years for both programs since 94-95. There has never been a 3-year period in recent college football history, where the Aggies and Longhorns were national contenders at the same time. So you can look at that and kind of see where it's not possible for both programs to be national championship relevant at the same time. Now, the old theory on that used to be because the state, and especially once the borders got broken down on the state, and you had Ohio State, Alabama, and others raiding the high school talent. But I think portal, the NIL in the portal, right, may have changed the dynamic. Can the two of them now in an NIL portal world? And you've got Elko. Look at this number one class. And you got Texas, but he has absolutely raided the state of Florida. So not using the one state base at all, actually, right? Has there been a paradigm shift? CBSSports.com this morning put out, and this is a massive article. Go read it if you want. How eternal rivals Texas A&M, Texas, proved there's room for two Lone Star State flagshipped. I read some of it because I found it this morning. Didn't have time to go. It's a huge article. I'm going to dive into it more. I mean, you can if you want to. We're still somewhat, not day to day yet with everything A&M in the season. So you got time. The only thing I would say, and I'm headline obsessed on this, but the word proved is not true. The word proved is not true. That's the key to this season for A&M that you've heard me and others mention so many times is that's why they can't go back to 8-4 this year. Proved. A&M has done the 1-year thing many, many, many times. Proved. And the headline, how eternal rivals Texas A&M proved there's room for 2 Lone Star flagships. Nope, not yet. The word proved doesn't apply. They're both trending. You see it. But proved? Nope. Not proved. Not yet. We'll be back. Go check it out, CBSSports.com. It's huge. This is the Louis Bellina Show. Wednesday. This is the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric on the Zone.
This is your home for Aggie football. Home, road, or bowl. The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
We are the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. We are going to jump into the rest of the world of sports. Don't worry, SEC Media Days will roll on 12:35-ish. Shane Beamer, a listen in South Carolina. But the rest of the world of sports. This Saturday is going to be a very, very awesome moment for Aggie softball. They're hosting the playoffs, the AUSL, that's the Professional Softball League. And on Saturday, the championship game is going to be broadcast on network. And it's the first ever AUSL televised network game, ABC TV. And Davis Diamond is going to be featured. And I think it's awesome that just they're hosting. And this is something, over the years, Davis Diamond has hosted ESPN, and ABC is, ESPN crews and stuff. And it should tell you something, that the reputation that Davis Diamond has, that they bring this event there. Because they could go anywhere in the country. Things are quiet now across the softball landscape. But why Davis Diamond? That should tell you about the facilities from an internal standpoint, broadcast capabilities, but then also in every other way. It should tell you about the hospitality. It's all of it, right? This should tell you something about Davis Diamond, the A&M people that run it, and how it works. That they have chosen for the AUSL playoffs, but then this first network game. I know the first time Davis Diamond hosted the SEC tournament, the SEC softball tournament, coaches, everyone were losing their mind at just how incredible. And it's not just stadium. The word facility 100% applies. It wasn't just stadium. A facility actually applies. I will say it's actually kind of somewhat tragic. How long it took to actually get that up. RJ Englert sent me a question mark. What's the you lost me there, man. Did you mean to text that to me? I'm looking at the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox. But did you mean to text that to me? Like, I'm lost now. It's funny. We have the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox, and 99.4% of the text messages are intended for me, but I get text messages that sometimes you could tell I'm not the intended person they meant to hit send to, and it's quite entertaining. The rest of the world of sports, caught this tweet from Ryan Broninger yesterday. Interesting. But D1 baseball did their way too early, 2027, 8 for Omaha. And man, they got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people on their staff. 11 people on their staff. Kendall Rogers, the head of D1 baseball, has the Aggies. He's the only one, but he has the Aggies in Omaha. And, that would be the breakout that, needed, necessary, people are dreaming about. Call it what you want. Just saying. So that was interesting. That was, a quick, fist pump from me. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, did his way. Well, they don't put the ways. I'm going to add the ways. If you're picking Omaha in July, it's way. That's 4 ways. Way. You're way too early. Omaha, 8. Kendall Rogers has A&M on the list. That's got a little quick fist pump for me. The rest of the world of sports. Astros have won 2 straight. They beat the Marlins Monday, Tuesday. You've heard me talk about the Astros. Well, I talk about them all year, but the roller coaster, manic nature of being an Astros fan this year. They get swept over the weekend out of the All-Star break. The Saturday loss is probably the worst loss of the year. So guess what? It's time. See, I'm having trouble and now they're probably going to end up sweeping the Marlins. It's just hard. That's all. Last night's game, starter Aime, 6-1. He's genius. But yet, Blue Ball in the bullpen, who's been fantastic, wasn't. So all of a sudden, it's a game again. Josh Hader in save situations is as money as any closer in the league. Scoreless, picked up as 11th. If you've been paying close attention, but why would you? He's thrown in some non-save situations. Like when they got swept, they went in and threw him like probably Sunday, I think it was, just to get him work. And he actually will leak a run or two in a non-save. But when it's save time, Hader, Moneyball. Bennett Sousa, who got called up before the game Monday, scoreless 9th. Is he the new setup guy? How many people... I'm going to quit asking if you paid attention. How many Astro fans are left amongst us? But the Astros Monday made big moves. They activated Bennett Sousa from the 60. And again, setup guy last night. They activated Ronel Blanco Monday. Got the start. Was awful. Did strike out 8 and 4 and change Monday. They optioned Ronel Delgado back to Sugarland. Space Cowboys. Love it. The one that was stunning is they also optioned Brian King down to AAA, down to Sugarland. And on Friday of last week, Brian King was the setup guy. He was not good before the break, awful against Baltimore. Sure, pitchers hit a slump. The Astros bullpen's so bad that just because you are struggling in the setup role, I don't know if that means you go to the minors when you take a look at the whole bullpen. So to go from setup guy Friday to AAA on Monday, I don't know the whole story at all, but I would say that was a stunning development, seeing Brian King sent down. I understood it. Oh, he got demoted out of the 9th. No. He got sent all the way down. In the 5-3 dub last night, Paredes hit his 13th. Pena hit his 8th. Top of the order, they were the whole offense. Paredes went 2 for 4, 3 ribeyes. Jordan had 2 more hits. Pena went 1 for 4. Again, it was a solo shot, but a homer nonetheless. And Astros won 2 straight. They'll go for the sweep tonight. And you'll hear that game here on the Zone. 6:40 pre, like 7:10 first pitch. Astros will try and sweep the Marlins. Astros baseball on the Zone. Thank you so much to Kelly Burt Dozer. Astros baseball on the Zone and select games on Willie 1550 AM. Our thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. Last night, I feel like the Rangers, Texas Rangers, worked out some frustration on the White Sox. 10-0 on 18 hits. How often can a team score 10 runs and you go, should have been more? 18 hits. 10 runs. Kumar Rocker, 6-0. Brilliant start. Gonzalez with the 3-inning save and a 10-0 dub. Brilliant. Wyatt Langford's been on a heater, and he went 2 for 4 with another homer last night. And this is the Wyatt Langford that Ranger fans dream of. And the Rangers last night, when you scored 10 runs, you scored often, but they also scored early with 2 in the first, 2 in the fourth, 4 in the fifth. That's one of those frustration worked out. Wyatt Langford on fire. Astros, 3 games back of the Texas Rangers in the AL West. Astros 4 games back in the wild card chase. By the way, Boston Red Sox postponed, so they still won 14 straight. Their game last night postponed, so they still won 14 straight. Astros 3 back of the Rangers in the West, 4 back in the wild card race. A timeout, and then we return. A listen in Shane Beamer, South Carolina, SEC Media Days return here on the Louis Bellina Show, here on The Zone.
Listen to The Zone on the Zone app, thanks to Loyalty Plumbing. The pros at Loyalty Plumbing are ready to serve you 24/7. For big emergencies or small.
The Louis Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio, Wednesday on The Zone. Low cost, full service, best of all local. That is Charles Schwab. Best of all local, Mark Sim right here in College Station. Find Mark online at schwab.com/College Station. Charles Schwab and Company Incorporated, member SIPC. Time now, listen in, South Carolina. Here's the head coach, Shane Beamer. That little pause you always hear, coach is walking to the podium.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for the introduction. Great to be back at SEC Media Day for year 6 for me. First time in Tampa. Very grateful for the position that I'm in as a head football coach in this conference. So awesome coaching in the SEC, premier conference in the nation when it comes to the depth of quality teams in this league and the depth and the amount of talent on the field every single Saturday. You see that in the NFL draft every April. Players and coaches want to be in this league. The stat that Commissioner Sankey said yesterday to me says everything, in that this league averaged 80,000 fans a game last season, which is the highest average of any sport of any league in the world. And when you talk about, somebody asked me earlier why the SEC is different, you can point to that right there, just the stadiums that you go in every single Saturday. Last year, the talk was about the Netflix special, Any Given Saturday. Not much talk about it this year, which I understand, but we continue to see at South Carolina the impact of that. I was at a wedding on Saturday, and somebody that's a fan of another SEC team came up to me at the wedding and commented on that and what a fan of our program he is after seeing that. My family and I were in Turks and Caicos back in February and was going through the TSA line down in Turks, and the guy that was doing everything in TSA looked at me, said, "You look familiar," and then it hit him. He said, "You're an SEC football coach. I watched that Netflix special, Fantasia," because he saw the episode where I sang Fantasia to my wife after the A&M game. So you never know worldwide, but most importantly, it continues to make an impact in recruiting. We see that with the number of families that visit Columbia and comment on Any Given Saturday and the 3 episodes that we were featured in, and how that made them feel about South Carolina. Thankful for Commissioner Sankey and his leadership. My respect for him continues to grow year after year in this conference. I'm glad he's leading us in this new era of college athletics. Appreciate all you guys that are in this room and everyone else that I've met with today in the media for all you do to promote our game and the sacrifices that you make throughout the year. And I would be remiss if I didn't say hello to Steve Fink. I know he's watching on television, I'm sure, but this is my first SEC Media Day without Steve Fink, our former Associate AD for Media Relations. Congratulations to him on his retirement after 21 years at the University of South Carolina and over 40 years of being in athletics. So he's been a great resource and friend to me going back to when I was an assistant coach at South Carolina for Steve Spurrier, all the way through the time that we've been together that I've been back as the head coach. Congrats on your retirement, and also want everybody to continue to keep Steven Garcia in their prayers. Just saw Steven. He's here today bouncing around, lives in Tampa, so we're in his hometown. Just got a chance to visit with him. As you guys know, he's in a battle right now with cancer, but I know how tough and what a fighter Steven is, and I know he's going to attack this thing like he attacked SEC defenses during his time as a quarterback at South Carolina. Got 3 players with me here today: Nicholas Harbor, Peyton Williams, and Lenora Sellers. Glad you guys are getting a chance to get to know those guys today and continue to. I think all 3 of them are great examples of what's right about college athletics and what our program is about. All 3 of them have had different journeys to Carolina, but all of them have made themselves into great players because of their work ethic and their humility. They're leaders on our team, and all three of them, which I think is rare in college football nowadays, all three of them are going into at least their fourth season in our program. Nick Harbor's a Washington, D.C. native. Known.
Just don't know what other people are bidding on them, and they know what they can spend, but they're just not sure what the marketplace is doing. At South Carolina, how do you guys approach the portal? Are you involved? Is it Darren Usher involved? Is he the one handling a lot of that? But there seems to be a lot of dynamics that are much different these days recruiting a portal.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely involved. There's not a player that we recruit that I'm not aware of who we're recruiting, why we're recruiting him, or what they may be getting from a rev share standpoint. I'm aware of all that. Darren Usher is certainly heading that up for us and he's really passionate about South Carolina and does a great job of that along with the other people in our personnel department. I would agree with those, I think you said ACC, other coaches. It's a challenge because there is no transparency. So all you can go on is, well, an agent tells you that his client is getting X amount from this school. Now, don't get me wrong, I, along with a lot of coaches, got great relationships with other coaches. So I've been known to pick up the phone and call Coach so-and-so and be like, hey, are you really paying so-and-so this amount of money? And I've gotten those calls from other coaches too. That happens regularly. So we're all talking in some ways, but then if you're at whatever, where'd you say you were from? Memphis? So if you're at Ole Miss and I'm at South Carolina and I know I'm competing for a kid with Ole Miss, I'm not going to call up Pete Golding and ask him what he's paying. But in other instances, we've been known to do that. It's tough, the lack of transparency, there's no doubt about it. But to answer your question, for us, it's like every school, we have a budget. We have this amount available to give from a rev share standpoint, and then you've got to make hard decisions, and you've got to say that here's what we're going to spend at the running back position, and here's what we're willing to spend on the offensive line, and you've got to be able to stick to that and make some hard decisions and be able to I don't ever want a player to choose South Carolina because of money. Because if the only reason they come to South Carolina is money, they're going to be in my office every January threatening to go in the portal because of money. So is money an aspect of it? Yes. I'm not naive. It better not be the only reason. Otherwise, I'm going to be having the same conversations with guys every year. We're going to be competitive. There's no question about it. But we've got to be able to, make tough decisions and, frankly, let a guy go somewhere else if that's going to be the deciding factor. Somebody else is giving him a lot more money if it doesn't quite fit with where we are from an evaluation standpoint or from a budget standpoint.
Okay, we've got two final questions. We'll start in the middle, about 5 rows back.
Hey, Coach Nick Clausen from WOG in Athens, Georgia. Last year, Lenore Seller's running ability not really as impactful as a lot of people thought. Is it a point of emphasis to include that part of his game more in the offense this year?
Yeah, I think we'd be crazy not to utilize Lenore's legs. I mean, he's a load to bring down. And do we want him running the ball 40 times a game? No. But I think what makes Lenore's great is his ability to throw the ball and run the ball. So will there be some design runs for Lenore's? Absolutely. Will there be some plays that break down from a protection standpoint that he needs to improvise and make plays with his feet? I'm sure there will be. But, yeah, that's a weapon. And we'd be remiss, in my opinion, if we don't utilize what makes Lenore Sellers great, and his legs are a big part of it.
We'll take one final, George, here in the second.
Okay, something odd happened in there because it skipped forward in the listen because that shouldn't have been the final 2 questions. So this is me, just a quick reset. Because, again, when we listen, we don't listen to everything they say. It's impossible. He's up there for like 30 minutes. So here we go, kind of a reset. Shane Beamer, SEC Media Days, a listen-in here on the Louis Bellina Show. Because on the Louis Bellina Show, we listen to every single coach the Aggies are going to square off again. Here's kind of a reset. We'll see how it goes.
To recruit to because we have the greatest fans in all of the world. And I know every coach in the SEC feels that way, but I am so driven to bring a championship to Columbia because of our fans. And we had a heartbreaking loss last year against Texas A&M on the road where we blew a significant lead. Any other program, we had Coastal Carolina coming to town the next week. And at that point, I think we were 3-7. In any program probably in the world, 99% of them, they're going to come back to a quiet, probably half-empty stadium. We came back the very next week against Coastal Carolina, had another sellout at Williams-Brice Stadium, and they were loud and rocking. So we have sold out every game the last 2 seasons, and we've got a school record currently for consecutive sellouts. So thank you to our fans, because there's nobody like them. I'm so blessed to be their head football coach and want nothing more than to bring a championship to them. And in closing, there's a lot of excitement for us going into 2026 on and off the field. The SEC, I'm sure you're going to ask me about going to 9 games. I'm excited. We get to compete against the best in this league. It's a tough schedule. I saw where every team in this league has one of the 20 toughest schedules in the country. I think 9 of the top 10 toughest schedules in the country going into the season are in the SEC. We're now a Nike school. Nothing against we had a great partnership, I should say, with Under Armour for a long time. But as of July 1st, we are now with Nike. That's made a huge impact with recruits, our fan base, our players, our coaches, our staff. We've got a stadium project. If you haven't been to Columbia lately, I'm looking forward to you getting there this upcoming season. We've got a 3-year stadium project going on that's going to make Williams-Brice Stadium even better than what it already is. Thanks to those guys that are working on that stadium. They are out there literally 7 days a week. I come in early every morning, and they are out there early every morning, that construction crew working on that stadium to have it ready to go in September when we kick things off. I stood up here in 2020 when I got hired, or 2020 at the press conference, and I talked about 2 things. There was no ceiling on the football program at South Carolina, and nothing has changed. And I said that this was my dream job when I got hired back then, and nothing has changed. I'm more convicted about that than ever. Certainly last season was a difficult season, to say the least. There were high expectations, and we fell woefully short, and that's on me. We had 6 losses last season that were 1-score games going into the fourth quarter. We certainly have to play better in the fourth quarter, but we don't seek comfort from that with how close we were. I'm accountable for everything that goes on in our program, made changes that I felt like we needed to make. We've gotten better because of it. I'm a big believer that in life you've got to go through some uncomfortable moments in order to grow, and we went through some really uncomfortable moments last season, but we have absolutely grown from that. The expectation always has been, since I've been the head coach, and always will be at South Carolina, to compete for championships and to compete for a spot in the 12-team playoff. That's what we are still working towards each and every day. And I think where we are right now as a team and the personnel in our program is a testament to the culture. Because when you have a disappointing season like we had last season, the easy thing for all the players on our team, and we've got some really talented players, is to pack up and go somewhere else in the portal. And make no mistake about it, our guys had plenty of opportunities to go other places, even though they weren't in the portal. But so many of our players, there's 3 of them that were here today, that could play anywhere in the country, they chose to stay. We've had coaches on our staff that had opportunities to take other jobs in college football and in the NFL, and they chose to stay. The coaches that came to us, we've got new coaches on our staff, they chose to come, along with the high school recruits that I just referenced and the transfer portal guys that came into us. They chose to come because they believe in what we're about. They believe in what we've done, what we're doing, but more importantly, where we're going as a program. And I can't wait to start practice in August. Questions?
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll start here in the center. Please give your name and affiliation. Robert.
Robert Sessa, the Bryan College Station Eagle. Speaking of that Texas A&M game, Shane, evidently
Can we not?
Yeah. Evidently, you did immediately flush it and forget it, but have you come back and maybe use that, since you do play A&M game again, as a learning experience?
Yeah, I think that was one of 3 games last season that we led going into the fourth quarter. So for me, I look at it, why did we not play better in the fourth quarter? Because in previous years, we won a lot of close games in the fourth quarter in 2024. So I look at it, what happened in 25 that we didn't play better in the fourth quarter. That's obviously the case study because of the lead that we had and how we finished. We'll really dive into that game specifically more. We do a summer scouting report on every opponent. So we've already done our summer scouting report on A&M, and you look at that. And then when we get to that game later in the season, certainly we'll really dive into that more strategically. But immediately after that game, you look at, what happened, why, you give them credit. I mean, so much respect for Coach Elko and their team to be able to come back from that in the second half. You give them credit, but then for me as the head coach, you look at our place and you say, why did we not make those plays in the second half that we made in the first half? Why did we make those mental errors in the second half that we didn't make in the first half? And that's what I do. And that was a tough day. You give them credit, but, got another opportunity against them this upcoming season.
That wraps up our listen in. Shane Beamer. Again, it was weird the way it skipped, but I wanted to make sure we heard the end of his intro. And, of course, Robert Cessna, the king of all Hawaiian shirts, with his A&M question. SEC Media Days will roll on tomorrow, and Thursday, a whole lot of maroon and white, because, again, the Aggies are taking the podium. Well, not the podiums. Podiums, that's correct, plural. Elko will go main stage. Players will hit every other room that they have there at SEC Media Days very, very, very shortly, probably within 30 minutes. So tomorrow on the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, residential, commercial, industrial services, what they do at CC Electric. Tomorrow on the Louis Bellina Show, maroon and white universe, and we're all going to hang out in it. I'll be right back. We got to say bye.
The Money Machine. The Money Machine. The Money Machine. Back to school. Your next chance to win $5,000 begins July 27th.
That's unbelievable.
At Zone1150.com.